This Brickyard 400 Betting Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. You've waited for it. It's here. Welcome to episode 650. Cody, I don't know what it is, but it seems our big major milestone episodes seem to line up with some pretty impressive races. And this is another one of those where it's a crown jewel, Indy 500 or Indy 400 rather. I'm pretty excited to break this down on such a momentous episode.
Crown jewel race, crown jewel episode. First of all, Rod, I want to thank all the wonderful people over at Allo Fiber. Yesterday, my internet was not as fast as Xfinity internet. Today, it is as fast as Xfinity internet. So, of course, the show, if you hadn't seen between the Discord and the social media, running a day behind because my internet just completely stopped working yesterday. It wasn't like, oh, it's not working great or not. It just was not working at all. So not a lot of fun, but luckily got it remedied today and back and better than
the Midwest heat definitely took a toll on that internet. I was yesterday old.
Oh, that's what it is.
I was yesterday old, Cody, when I learned about corn sweat. I learned that is an actual thing. Did you know about corn sweat?
We call that Tuesday.
Yeah, because I'm over here listening to the news, and they were like, well, the Midwest is also getting hit not only by high heat, but by corn sweat. And I was like, the hell is corn sweat? And I suppose it's when the humidity level gets bumped up because there's corn. The moisture that gets wicked off of corn is like an insane amount. But, yeah, it's something that I wasn't aware of, and I grew up by corn. So, oh, well.
Basically it makes the corn sweat. I mean, really, that's
I guess, and it makes you guys sweat as well. Cameron Osborne going to the race on Sunday. Hey, Cameron, looking forward to that, man. I want gotta get those pictures.
Good, yeah. Get over in our Discord, sg.pn/Discord, and share pictures with us. We always love to see pictures from the track. I know our guy Sour D was at Dover last week. And shared some great pictures over there. Shout out to Christopher. Says, love the work, guys. Really helped me on my journey of becoming a diehard NASCAR fan. Let's fucking go. Love to hear that. There were more comments from yesterday's chat, but
it's because the yesterday's show is sort of gone away. But
yes, but shout out to everybody who was in the comments. I believe Christopher had asked a couple of head-to-head questions, and I think we're going to talk about those. So,
yes, we are. We are excited because we are going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for what is a 2.5 mile track that is unlike any other out there. And again, Indy cars race this. Everybody races this. Somebody at the end of this is going to be kissing the bricks, and it's definitely going to be a good time. But you know what else is a good time is finding shows on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and doing all of that, but also listening to the Sports Gambling Podcast, because they're back with their 32 NFL team previews, and they're also bringing back the phrase that pays. Every episode, they're going to give out one word of a 32-word phrase, and all you got to do is submit that phrase for a chance to win a $1,000 Circa future. Boy, those guys do not mess around. Not only do they have the best coverage out there, but they have the best prizes out there as well, Cody. It's fun times right now as we start to get into the football camps now.
Oh, yes. Football season, the Sports Gambling Podcast, the main show, they've begun their 32-team NFL previews. I was talking to Kramer last week. I helped him with some data stuff behind the scenes, but it's one of my favorite parts of the year is when they start breaking down, because that means we're getting close. Some days you get 2 episodes a day. They go through each individual team, talk through the schedule, talk through best bets, talk through all of it. It's great. Absolutely love this time of year with that. I'm going to be on next Thursday with them, actually, to talk about the New England Patriots. Just booked that today, so pretty excited about that. But yeah, love.
Me too. I was just on with Steffi a couple of days ago, actually, to talk about the Niners. So go check out Steffi Small's show. I was there to break down the Niners with her, and
I was on with her last week or 2 weeks ago, I think, as well, talk about the Patriots. So she has a great show. A lot of good shows on this network. It's a great place to be. Cameron says it's his first race he gets to go to. Let's fucking go. Oh, yes. It's going to be, and at such a historic place, that is going to be, that's going to be really, really great. Very excited for you. Going to your first race is something real special. You're going to, if you thought you were in love with it before,
yeah, there is a die-harder fan in there somewhere for you to definitely enjoy it as well. All right, well then, speaking of which, Cody, I know that we haven't spoken in a few days as far as on the show. News is sort of out there. There's a lot of it to digest. I don't know how much we're going to bring up right now. Maybe we should parse it out over the next couple of days. But the pressing news is definitely the soap opera that continues to swirl around this. Rye Cape, though, checking in real quick, saying, fellas, what's up, Rye Cape?
Hey, Rye, what's up? And Christopher, going to get to your question here in a few. It's on the cards. We'll talk about it. But I think the big news, Rod, is the San Diego news. But who cares about the lawsuit at this point in time, right? We're getting lost in all that stuff. But yeah, NASCAR. So they announced officially not going back to Chicago next year, and they have announced today they are officially going to San Diego in 2026, Rod, for the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series. And they're going to race on the naval base at Coronado. As someone who is a Navy veteran, super fucking sweet. That's really cool. I've heard a lot about Coronado and the great place that it is. So that's going to be really exciting. But racing on the naval base, it's going to be a street course type of thing, right? They're still working on the exact layout. I know they work really closely with iRacing for that, but probably going to be a 3-mile circuit. That's going to be really, really freaking sweet. I mean, you think it's cool watching them race through downtown Chicago. Now, you put them out in beautiful San Diego on the naval base. And I think it's Father's Day weekend. I'm sure they're going to obviously incorporate the Navy a lot. They did today. A bunch of the drivers were in San Diego, doing stuff with the Navy and fighter pilots and all that. So, yeah, I'm really
I am going to be there. I don't care how it's going to happen. I don't care what's going to happen. I will be there. That race is too close to me. And I was actually supposed to be in Coronado this weekend. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it out there because of one reason or another. But tell you what, I will not miss that race because, like I said, that's amazing. I mean, that's one of those things where, I know that I love Sonoma, but boy, I can only imagine what it's going to be like to be at an actual street race not too far away from where I'm at. And I definitely can't miss that. So definitely putting my credentials in now.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity. California, obviously a big market. They're doing this to try and get new fans. We've seen more and more people gravitating towards NASCAR. You're taking the track to the people. There's not a track out there, right? And we're not going to build a track out there. Well, we are going to build a track out there. This is how you do it. This is how you get people into it. So, yeah, absolutely love that. And it's going to be really cool. Going to be an awesome time. It does appear that it's a 1-year deal. So it might be in and out and then they do something else. So we'll have to enjoy it. But, yeah, it looks really cool and it's definitely going to be very exciting
I am already looking forward to it. What do you mean next June? I'm looking forward to it now. Like, let's go. I would love nothing more than to actually have this happen sooner rather than later. But yeah, definitely out there. Christopher says, take your time. Get into the questions. We will. Andrew Wilson checking in saying DFH, baby. DFH. Is that what he is? Is that where he is? Is that where the F went? Did the F go?
Yeah, that's where the F went. It moved from Kyle Busch over to Denny. It's Denny fucking Hamlin. Hottest driver in NASCAR, Rod. We're going to talk about him a little bit. Shout out to JDK joining us in the chat. Let's fucking go. So excited for this race, Rod. Crown Jewel event. Of course, they're racing on the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You might know this. You might not, Rod. Did you know that the kissing of the bricks, that's become such a tradition now for the Indy 500 and for all these NASCAR races? While IndyCar's been there, 100 and some times, it is actually NASCAR. Dale Jarrett started that tradition. I think it was 1997. He kissed the bricks. Everybody's been doing it since. Great tradition on a historic track. So very, very excited.
Look, is cute and all, but you gotta kiss the bricks when you get there for sure. All right. Well, then, speaking of which, it is the Brickyard 400 presented by PPG. We are set for 160 laps around this 2.500 mile paved track for 400 of probably the fastest. I know we talk about Michigan being fast, but Indy is definitely fast for this race. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana, historic track, historic race. Cody, that brings out the names, doesn't it? Although there won't be any new names. I think it's just the same names. Only there's some more open drivers this week.
Yes, there's a lot of open drivers this week, Rod, including Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Riley Herbst. Okay, but we're going to still count them in the 36 normal week-to-week competitors. But there is 39 entries for this race at the Brickyard 400. Jesse Love is going to be back in the number 62 car for Beard Motorsports. Josh Balicki back in the number 66 car. And then Catherine Legg, she's familiar with this place. She's, of course, raced here in the Indy 500 multiple times. She is going to be back in the number 78 car once again this week. So 39 entries. They will all make the show, so we don't have to worry about NASCAR limiting the entries and whatever the fuck all that stuff is now. But, again,
another day on another show. Yeah, we got plenty of time to talk about that. I don't want to talk about last week. We are not talking about last week at all.
Why not? Last week was beautiful, right? We should. If you want to recap, this is the race we should recap. It's been a tougher season in NASCAR in an overall sense. And I think, this show, but from others I've seen as well, it's not been, I don't want to say easy because it's never easy, but it's been a tougher season this year in the betting space than it had been previously. It's been some crazy races and crazy endings and all sorts of stuff, but we cleaned up really nicely last week on the picks. It was a very good week. It felt good to kind of get a little bit back finally, and I've taken that confidence and instilled it on my betting card this week, Rod. I'm feeling really good, and I'm very excited to bet.
Although nobody told you this wasn't a super. I know it's 2.5 miles, Cody, but it's not a super speedway, and your card reflects a super speedway card today. I'll tell you that.
Yes, the numbers don't reflect super speedway numbers.
No, it is 650 though. This is episode 650, so you just wanted to make this a nice mega episode, and we will. But all right, well then, I feel like we should probably start getting to the race at hand because there's a lot to talk about in this Indy 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But first, say again.
Yes.
Oh, you were chuckling over there. I just thought maybe you read a cool comment that we could get to real quick.
No, I was just catching up on the chat.
All right, well then let's get to this race. But first, I would like to tell you about our friends over at Circa, the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, the world's greatest sports book. Circa, if I can get there, where am I at? Hello, this is me learning how to.
Your name is Rod Gomez. This is episode 650,
and here we go. Let me show the.
I don't think that's the Circa ad.
That is, ladies and gentlemen. The world's greatest sportsbook, Circa Las Vegas, is hosting the world's biggest pro football contest, Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and Circa Grandissimo, with over $21 million in guaranteed prizes. You can't call yourself a true DGen if you're not competing in the Circa football contest. Come hang out with the SGPN at Circa Contest Weekend, August 21st through the 23rd, for an amazing weekend, including live shows and, best of all, an open bar Plus, you get 15% off of a stay at the circuit with promo code SGPN50. The contest is open to everybody. Sign up in Nevada and play from anywhere with the help of the SGPN's official proxy. Go to footballcontest.com and use promo code SGP to get $50 off of your proxy fees. Now it's time to tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long. They're giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is literally the best place to play fantasy football. Underdog is also a great place to play Pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Looking at the CFL tomorrow night, it is going to be the Montreal Alouettes taking on the Calgary Stampeders. Caleb Evans, the short yardage quarterback for Montreal, always comes in, always a goal line threat. His projected rushing and receiving touchdowns is set as a half. Oh my God, please give me the higher than 1.38 times your entry for Caleb Evans, higher than a half of a rushing and receiving touchdown. It's going to be rushing, but Caleb Evans, like I said, short yardage specialist, always in to score for the Owls. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. So I switched.
I had a nice one on Underdog last week, Rod. Threw $5 in there, had a profit boost, 4 drivers, and turned $5 in. Pretty nice day on Sunday.
Ooh, that's a beautiful day. I absolutely love that. Yeah, I didn't fare so well, unfortunately. I had my free $10 play, and I just gave it right back to them. So that's where we're at.
Happens to the best of us, Rod.
It really does. All right, we will not let that happen to us this week on our betting card and our Underdog picks. So, Cody, I think it's time to start loading up some of our plays from the Brickyard 400 out there in Indianapolis.
Real quick, catching up on the chat. Sansa says Denny's going back to back. Hunter was at the race last week as well. Said was at the race and that car lifted Briscoe. Oh man, so badly wanted him to beat Hamlin at the end. Looked so good at the restart too. It was, I didn't even realize it, but I gave out 4 outrights last week, Rod. They were all Joe Gibbs racing cars. I noticed on Sunday, I was looking through all my stuff. I'm like, I gave out all 4 Joe Gibbs cars, but hey, Briscoe could have won. Bell could have won. Hamlin could have won. Like, I was sort of upset that Bell didn't. He was obviously a much bigger number. I was kind of hoping he got it done. But Daniel says his gut says Blanky and Larson this week. Of course, meant Blaney. I think one of us is going to agree with you.
Yeah, I like Blanky's. Blanky's
Sour D checking in says sup fam, and yeah, JDK says Blanky way better than Blaney, and Daniel's hitting the booze I think a little early, but says Blaney will be a top 3 cat this week. So
the felines are out. I will say this though, Cody, you talk about the outrights. If you think about what we had in our card last week, we had Elliott at 12-1, Denny, Bell, Briscoe, and Gibbs, and 3 of those 4 or 4 of those 5 were leading the race and had a chance to win.
Gibbs was the only one, and he was the longest shot, right? So should be the one that's not there anyways. Although he had a fine day, and yet another fine day for Tyrone Gibbs, Rod. He has made it to, of course, Tyrone versus Tyrone this week. Gibbs and Dylan squaring off in the championship for the tournament, so that is great. Charles checking in, says, what's up, guys? Let's cash this weekend. All right, Rod. So looking at Indianapolis, there's not a true comparison track. Pocono, the closest you could probably pull from. We were just there a few weeks ago, so that helps a ton, right? So what I did, looked at current form in a general sense, right? But also, what did you do at Pocono? What did you do last year? We only have one race to look at. Last year at Indy, one driver, I think, of one of these bets. I'm going to go back a little farther just because there's some interesting stats, but otherwise, I mean, they raced here last in 2021, I think it was. So before last year, so hard to look too far back past that. And then, so I looked at Pocono last year, and what have you done on the higher speed intermediates this year? Because I think that's what you're going to see, right? This is a high speed track, and it's bigger in size, obviously. So that's the closest I think you're going to get. So just to kind of give everybody an idea, I'm going to sort of brush over these. I had 2 pull bets in here, but they've been completely drenched. This is a tip to get in the Discord because I did share Briscoe 12-1 for the poll. He's down to 3-1 in some places now, Rod. So just, when it's on the graphic at the end, but just kind of ignore that because again, Hammered, I would have gave it out last night, but if you're in the Discord, hopefully you got on it already. I was also going to give out Hocevar 25-1, but he's down to like 10-1 now. So unfortunately, both of those are gone. So honorable mentions and RIP to those. But I'm going to start out. I know our guy Christopher was asking Larson and Denny, right? They're matched up yet again. Larson looked good, looked really good last week, Rod. Did he look really good? I don't know what was really good. I mean, he climbed his way through the field. He had an okay day, took advantage of some strategy at the end, finished fourth. Like, okay, but for what we know and expect out of Kyle Larson, is that
Chase
really
Elliott
good?
looked really good.
That just
yeah.
Chase Elliott looked really good. Denny Hamlin looked really good, but kind of, I don't know if I'd say really good for Larson. So we're going to fade him again, Rod. Worked for us last week, and really, we had Denny over Larson last week. Similar number. It's -115 over on Caesars. And it was no sweat at all day. I mean, Larson started out farther back. Of course, that was all metric set, but hey, that's how it works sometimes. And he climbed his way through the field. He had an okay finish, but this isn't really, we're going to fade him until we see him better. It's not a fade because he's still fourth, like finished seventh a couple weeks ago. He's had some good runs, and it's not that you're fading him completely or think he's going to have a bad day. It's just he has not been the same Larson that we've seen previously, right? So no sweat. Denny cashed us last week. On Denny again this week. Denny's finished better than Larson 7 of the last 8 races this year now. He won last week, of course. He was second at Pocono, led 32 laps. Larson was fourth last week, 7th at Pocono, so he beat him in both those. Denny won at Michigan, so he beat Larson, of course, who finished in 5th. Denny's been top 3 in the last 4 oval non-super speedway races. So, and really, he had a top 4 at Chicago, too, if you want to toss that in there. But oval non-super speedways, that's what we're looking at to compare to this race. Top 3 and 4 in a row. If you're getting that level out of Denny Hamlin right now, absolutely love to see that. Larson starts the season right, goes to Kansas. Again, one of these tracks I'm kind of looking at. 212 laps he led, Rod. Dominates the day. But then Indianapolis, Charlotte, the double. The double went horrible for him. Since he led 212 laps all the way back in May, he's only led 37 laps since then, Rod. That is not the Kyle Larson we are used to seeing. And until we see that Kyle Larson again, and on the other hand, we're seeing an absolutely dominant, great Denny Hamlin. He's feeling it. New dad. Everything's going great for him. He's getting shit talked on Sirius XM radio hardcore by Larry Mack and company. Like, things are just going great for him. 7 of the last 8 races, he's beat Kyle Larson. I understand why these guys are matched up again, but for where they're both at right now, they're not on the same level. Denny is clearly on a different level. Now, I'm going to keep doing this until it stops working. I'll tell you that right now. So if we keep getting this offered to us week in and week out, I'm going to keep playing it. It is eventually not going to work. I'm going to tell you that right now. Eventually, Larson's going to show up and be the Larson that he can be. He won this race last year, redemption from Charlotte, but I just don't, he's not been himself lately. He's running Xfinity. Maybe that'll help him. Maybe it won't, but out on Larson at the moment. And again, that's not a horrible day. That's 5th, 7th place. Fine. Denny's going to be top 3 at the end of the day in the mix to win this. So give me Denny Hamlin over Kyle Larson. And then one more matchup, Rod. I'm going to take Chase Elliott over Tyler Reddick. -125 over on ESPN. You only pay the juice if you lose. This one's not close. Tyler Reddick was great here last year as well, but he has been horrible this year. And Chase Elliott, streakiest driver in the garage, is on fucking fire. 6th place last week for Elliott at Dover. 12th place for Reddick. Of course, Elliott had a career day, right? Led a shit ton of laps. Looked really good. 5th at Pocono to 32nd for Tyler Reddick. 15th at Michigan, not the best of days, but Reddick was only 13th. Only a couple spots ahead of him. 6th place at Charlotte for Elliott. 26th for Tyler Reddick. Not close again. 15th at Kansas, where he had a fast car. I don't remember if that was a penalty or a bad pit stop. Something that cost them, right? He was led a bunch of laps, pit at the wrong time, whatever it was, but still beat Tyler Reddick. Texas, another intermediate, 16th to 21st. Vegas, another intermediate, 10th to 24th. The 6 intermediate bigger tracks we've been on, Chase Elliott's beat Tyler Reddick in 5 of them, and it's mostly not even been close. He's beat him 5 races in a row, just going back over the last 5 races this season, and 13 to 20 times so far this season. So I really, really like all of those numbers. we were talking about this in the Discord. Chase Elliott has 4 finishes of 20th or worse since the Daytona 500 last year, Rod. Tyler Reddick has that since Las Vegas earlier this season. So give me Chase Elliott, who is look, he's going to be top 20 at the end of the day, right? That might be enough to get it. But he's also on fire right now. Things are completely clicking with that 9 car. They've had a ton of speed. They've looked good. So give me Chase Elliott over Tyler Reddick in a 23-11 team that, is the lawsuit actually affecting them? We didn't think it would, but it's starting to look like maybe it is, and he's just not been himself. And you go to Kansas and you're like, well, this is the race, right? They're good here. Oh, Michigan, this is the race, right? Pocono. But no, so now it's Indy. Is it, though? Because we haven't seen it at all from Tyler Reddick. He's not been impressive on the 1.5 miles to where he's been previously in this car. So I'm out on Tyler Reddick at the moment, which hurts my heart, of course. But give me Chase Elliott over Tyler Reddick.
And for Chase Elliott, you just see it on the track. And really, you see it with Chase Elliott, you see it with Denny Hamlin, like you said. So it's not bad to take both of these guys on their upswing. So I'm with you on the Reddick one. I'll talk later about my thoughts on Kyle Larson here in a second, but I'm going to actually take another head-to-head here. I know we took the F out of Kyle Busch and threw it into Denny Hamlin, but tell you what, man, Kyle Busch looking a little racy as of late, right? And I say racy, but it's all subjective because Kyle Busch being racy nowadays is an 11th place at Dover, is a 10th place at Sonoma, is a 5th place at Chicago. 3 races in which he's actually done very well for himself. And, Kyle Busch needs a little shot in the arm after what's been a 17th place average finish season. So he's in a matchup right now against Ross Chastain, -120 for the Kyle Busch part of this one. And honestly, it's because of this, right? Ross Chastain, yes, has a better average finish this year, 15.6. Ross Chastain has done better on some of these 1.5 miles, right? Thanks to our buddies over at iFantasy Race and Ryan. We know that at the conventional track total speed rankings heading to Indianapolis, if you scroll down a little bit, you will finally get to Ross Chastain at 16, but Kyle Busch not far behind at 18. So speed ranking wise, they're not too far apart, but you want to talk about what have you done for me lately, Cody? That's kind of what we're basing some of this off of. Allow me to tell you what Ross Chastain has done for you lately. 33rd last week at Dover after a crash, 24th at Sonoma after starting 4th, 10th at Chicago. Not bad, right? But still, it's a Chicago street race. 33rd in Atlanta, 26th at Pocono, 16th at Mexico City. So just a pretty bad stretch here for Ross Chastain. And I think, for him, he's a streaky driver, right? And I don't know that this is a track that is going to get him back out of this streak, because if you look at his average finish here is 20th on this track, 26th in 2018, 22 in 2019. Of course, this is in the 15 and the 77, 17th there, but 15th in the 1 car last year in 2024. Whereas if you look at Kyle Busch has been on this track a lot. Average finish 12.8 here. Last year was rough, but look, last year was rough for Kyle Busch at all, right? So you can kind of throw that one out. But 6th place in 2020. He was on the pole 3 consecutive years on this track, 2016, 2017, 2018. He had back-to-back wins in 2015, 2016, an 8th place finish in 2018. So if we are expecting Kyle Busch to have a surge, and when I say surge, I mean a top 10 finish, that is going to be where I think he's going to end up. And I'm going to give him that type of finish, whereas Ross Chastain, top 15 is where I think he's going to live, and I don't think that's going to be good enough to beat Kyle Busch this week. So give me Kyle Busch, -120 over Ross Chastain.
Yeah, I like this play, actually. I think that I've seen a little bit of stuff that I like out of Kyle here lately, Rod. And I got Richmond circled for Mr. Busch coming up here in a couple weeks. I'm going to be excited to talk about him that week. But I agree. I'm on Kyle Busch right now as well. So give me Busch over Chastain with you.
Beautiful. All right, where are we going next?
Next up, going back to 2 guys I just talked about, so I'll make this brief, but Denny Hamlin, top 3 at +140, Chase Elliott, top 5 at +160. I think where we're at right now in the season, we know what's going on at this point in time, and these 2 guys are part of what's going on. Both of them on top of their game right now, and things are really just going very well for them. Ryan over at iFantasy, you just talked about him. He's got his total speed rankings for conventional tracks Conventional means not super speedways, not road courses. Good. We don't want those in there, right? That has no effect on this track. In terms of conventional track total speed rankings, Denny Hamlin hasn't been lower than second all the way back since Charlotte. Love to see that. And he currently leads the top 5 for the conventional track speed. Elliott, by the way, 5th place on that list. It's Hamlin, Byron, Blaney, Larson, Elliott, if you were wondering. And Hamlin and Elliott, the consistent ones out of that, right? Byron, Blaney, and Larson can jump up and have great days, but they also have their fair share of problems found and things going wrong. But I just made the case for both of these guys and why I think, both of their head-to-heads, they're matched up against very good other drivers, and who I'll continue to say is still the best race car driver in the world. Things are just a little bit down for him right now, and I'm playing into that. But part of the reason I'm on that is because Denny Hamlin is going to be a top 3 car. He has had so much speed, really feeling himself. Everything is clicking perfectly for that team. So I love him. Plus 140, I think, is a great number for his top 3. And then for Elliott, we know he's going to hang around. We know he's going to be fast. Can he win? Can he get, it doesn't always happen even when he has the best car. See last week, right? But I know Sourdy, his team sold the top 5 at the very end there. We should have cashed the fucking top 5. Thank God the rest of the card was good. Made up for that. But I think that it will cash this week, plus 160. So Hamlin, Elliott, love them both this week. Hamlin for the top 3 at 140. Elliott top 5 ones.
Yeah, I'm with you on both of these. I really do think that obviously this is going to be a fight, because if you look at the books they've pretty much figured out, and they're trying to get you into who is going to be at the end of this, who's going to be winning. And honestly, I think this may be a chalky-ish week, because if you look at the one race from last year, if you look at some of the races earlier this year from that, yeah, these names are going to sound familiar because they're the ones that are at the top, and they're the ones that were at top last year. And it's tough to tear yourself away from them, which is why finding value was fun, because it was a nice little Easter egg hunt for us.
And one note on Elliott too, if you go back and I don't really mention either of these guys' finishes last year because it doesn't really matter. I don't care too much. I'm not going to overly look into one, but Chase Elliott was a fast car last year, running in 3rd place before that. Remember that weird blend line penalty they gave him where he was coming back onto the track and they said he crossed the line too early? Somebody else had gotten it too later, but Elliott's like, I read the email they sent. He's like having this whole discussion about, I looked at the email, this is what it said, and all that stuff, which was really weird. But so he had a fast car here last year as well. So I like that. And then for Denny, I believe Denny had oh boy, I don't have it pulled up. Never mind. I'll leave it because I think he had a not great finish. But yeah, so he was 3rd. He was fast today as he, of course, this tab doesn't want to load now. I believe he won stage 1 and was top 3 in stage 2. Well, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, Rod.
I'll tell you that Denny Hamlin overall was the 3rd fastest green flag speed in the race, 174.961, finishing 32nd. So
thank you. And the tab did load. Denny Hamlin led 21 laps. He won stage 1, finished 3rd in stage 2. So I was correct there. Started 2nd. So he was up front. He looked good, got caught up in a wreck. And if you go back over his last 8 races here, if you do want to go back into what have they done at this track previously, 5 top 6 finishes for Denny Hamlin. So he's been very good at this track, and I expect that to continue. And yes, Charles saying Elliott and Keselowski, I do believe that is correct. Keselowski, and he bounced back from that and almost won this damn race last year, but we'll talk more about him in a little bit.
You know who else has been pretty damn good at this track? That is one Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace, surprisingly, on this track has 3 straight top 10 finishes, 2 top 5 finishes in that span. A 5th place last year, leading 26 laps and finishing in 17th, starting in 17th, leading 26, finished in 5th. And then the year before that, in 2020 on that race, started 17th again, finished 9th in the 43 car. And then in 2019, he started 15th and finished 3rd in the 43 car, and then ended up finishing 38 in his very first time out, crashing out of that race in 2018. But Bubba Wallace, just one of those guys where, we talked about 2311 having problems, but if a 7th place finish at Dover is having problems, then I will take that all day long. Talked a little bit about kind of those big expansive tracks, kind of the way this is. Michigan, I think, being one of those. 4th place at Michigan, 6th place at Nashville, 3rd place at Martinsville, 3rd place at Homestead. I mean, there's been some pretty good runs for Bubba Wallace when he's needed them. And, right now he's in a fight for the playoffs, and he's making himself very, very nice headway into that playoff race. And, with all things being considered and how badly this season has gone for both of these guys, for Reddick and for Bubba Wallace, for him to still be in the fight and to be on a track like this, right, where he's been actually successful. He led laps last year on this track. So it's not as if he doesn't run well. And I highly think that another top 10 is in store for him. And in fact, you can get that at plus 140 over on ESPN Bet. So, again, it's the same price for Denny Hamlin's top 3, but I am way, way more bullish on a Bubba top 10 in this instance. And I know that there's a lot of folks out there that don't believe in him, but hell, man, he's done it 3 times in a row. He just did it last week at Dover, and one of the more tough races, I think, to do that at, right? Because he wasn't as if he started way up at the top and stayed there. He started 22nd at Dover and managed to find his way up to the front to get to 7th place finish. That is remarkable, considering people were like, well, you can't pass at Dover and so hard to pass at Dover. Well, Bubba did it 19 times or however many times 22 minus 7 is. So yeah, give me Bubba top 10 at plus 140. I really, really, if there was a lock, if we gave out locks, this would probably be my lock.
Wow, that's big words from Rod. To this point of the year, almost every year, and this is when Bubba really picks up his game, because they start to points race, they start to really batten down the hatches and get these good finishes, trying to point their way into the playoffs. He's doing that once again. We saw it last week with a great run, so I do not mind this one at all.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah, again, like I said, it's Bubba's kind of a wild card all the time, but I think this is going to be the one where you flip up the card and it's a nice cash for you. So, all right. We'll get back to more of our bets, but first let me tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. We are brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using cryptocurrency. National Rugby League tomorrow morning, actually very bright and early for you, 5:50 a.m. on the West Coast, so like 2:50 for you on the East Coast. I'm going to take the Melbourne Storm. They're taking on the Sydney Roosters. Melbourne, they're giving you 4.5. So I'm going to take Melbourne minus 4.5, minus 120 for these guys. They've pretty much blown them out the last couple of times they've met in 2024 in July. Storm beat the Roosters 24-8. And then earlier in September of last year, 48-18 was the score. Storm over the Roosters. So that trend will continue. Give me the Melbourne Storm over the Sydney Roosters. Minus 4.5, minus 120 over on mybookie.ag. You can head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Allow me to tell you about my friends at Rhythm. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. Essentially, it's the best of the best of their house model and what it has to offer. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean, data-backed bets. MLB Power Trends are 254 and 147 with a win rate of 63% and an ROI of 4.5 in their past 400 bets. WNBA Power Trends, 35 and 20 since they launched, 63.64% win rate and a 20.7% ROI. Go download the Rhythm app, check out their Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know that we are going to be as well. WNBA, Aces at Fever. How about Chelsea Gray? They're giving us a prop line of 14.5, but Rhythm is saying that it's predicting an 11.5 points and assist day out of Chelsea Gray. You know what that means? Slam the under. That's exactly where we're at on that one. So make sure you get in on that right now. Get your 7-day free trial today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, Cody, as we continue down the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, what's next on the card?
Next up for me, Rod, it's been working out for us week after week. We're going to keep playing it. Tyrone Gibbs, top 10 plus 100. Fifth place finish last week. You know, we mentioned all the outrights we had. Oh, he was the longest shot. He still finished fifth place. He was there at the end of the day. You like to see that. Another strong day for him. He's coming off runs of 7th at Sonoma, 2nd at Chicago, 14th at Pocono. You'd like to see that be a little bit better, right, in comparison to this track. but 11th at Mexico City, where he had the second best car, 3rd at Michigan. You like to see that stuff. You go back a little bit farther, things were pretty rough. There was quite the rough stretch in there for Ty Gibbs, but they figured some stuff out. The points race, everybody's counted them out, but they have closed the gap big time. He's still points racing. He thinks they can make it in on points. He's, of course, racing against Ty Dillon this week. We've seen what Ty Dillon's able to do to some of these guys. Going to have a good run. Going to need a top 10. We've talked already about his teammate Denny Hamlin, how good and strong they've been. Chase Briscoe, we're going to talk about in a little bit. They've been good and strong. Christopher Bell, we're going to talk about in a little bit. They've been good and strong. The Joe Gibbs Racing stable clicking on all cylinders right now. I think that clearly they're the best and strongest team in the garage at this point in time of the season. And that's why I'm betting on all 4 of their drivers once again this week in different ways. So yeah, give me Ty Gibbs top 10 plus 100. And then you said your lock was Bubba Wallace top 10. If I was giving out a lock, my best bet, the play I would make the most this week, Rod, it'd be Brad Keselowski top 10 at plus 130. I have absolutely fallen in love with Brad Keselowski this week. He's got the perfect mix of every past. Ran well here lately. Can you still hear me, Rob? Oh,
yes,
boy.
I can.
My internet picked a great time to mess up again. Okay, there we go. It was saying it was reconnecting. All right, let's get back into this. Brad Keselowski, as I was saying, perfect mix. Driver has been good here in the past. Ran well here last season. Looked good lately. He's got all of it. I love him this week. As it was mentioned earlier by Charles, Keselowski had that penalty last year, recovered from it, leading this race late, led 35 laps, leading at the end of regulation, had to pit for fuel in overtime, unfortunately, so didn't get the result that he warranted, but he was really good here last season. He's also been really good at this track in the past. 3 of his last 4 starts here, he's finished inside of the top 4. Again, that's, take that somewhat loosely because that's going back to the old car. That's going back to him being in the 2 car. That's going back to a bunch of other stuff. But still, he's been really good here. And Ryan and I Fantasy Race breaks it down good. The 21st last year, but led to 35 laps, until he ducked down for fuel. 4th here in 2020. Wrecked in 2019, but was 8th 3 laps prior to his wreck. 1 here in 2018. 2nd place here in 2017. So he's been really good at this track. Again, I'm not leading too heavily into that, but I do like it. But also, what have you done for me lately? 10th place last week at Dover, yet another top lately. 11th place finish at Sonoma. He's got 4 top 10 finishes in the last 5 races. At intermediate tracks, 9th place at Pocono, 10th place at Michigan, 5th place at Charlotte. Things have been going good. Remember how bad he was struggling? He was like 42nd in the points, even though there's not that many cars running early in the season. Like things were rough. Still managed an 11th place finish at Las Vegas. He's been good. We've seen RFK. They've put all 3 cars in the top 10. A couple of races here lately. He's shown speed. Going to talk about one of his teammates here in a minute that's shown a lot of speed on these bigger intermediate tracks. Absolutely freaking in love with Brad Keselowski this week. And JDK, could you just give us a second? All right. The show's not over yet, buddy. Calm down over there in the chat department. We're getting there. All right. It's coming up next, buddy. But first, Brad Keselowski, top 10, plus 130.
I hope so for him. I really do. It's just, he's one of those guys where I don't hate him. So sounds like I got to boost it.
See? So, yeah, got to boost it. So Shandy posted in there, hey, guys, Caesars has a like 60% boost, 50% boost, whatever it is, expired at 5 o'clock today or whatever. So I was like, hey, we haven't had a chance to do the show yet. Here's my favorite play. Put it in the Discord earlier today, so everybody got a chance to get on it. Sands obviously tailed. Fucking love it. Let's go. So heavy on Keselowski this week, Rod. He's going to be, if I've not used him in one and done, although I shouldn't say that after giving out Cole Custer last week because that was not a good play. I did play Cole Custer in the one and done. That was a bad move.
Are you done?
Yeah. I am the done part of one and done, but that's okay.
All right. You know who's not done, though? Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, top 5, minus 110 over on ESPN Bet. The thing about Ryan Blaney, we joked about the fact that he's the new piano man, and it kind of was the piano. He's average finish of 18 this year, and we know that he finished 40th at Atlanta, 12th in Chicago, 36th at Sonoma, but he bounced back. Finally had a day that was worth having. He started 31st in that race too, had problems early. He thought, oh man, the metric having to start him back in 31st, you're like, oh my goodness, this is not going to bode well for him, but he powered his way to an 8th place finish. I would have loved to have seen Ryan Blaney be able to qualify and where he would have actually been able to run had he not done that. 3rd at Pocono, Cody was using that as sort of a benchmark for a, I guess, comp track if ever there was one. 1 at Nashville, 3rd at Kansas, 3rd at Texas, 5th at Darlington. I know that has nothing to do with it. So some good intermediate tracks, some good tracks that are fat that he was fast at. But overall, Ryan Blaney on the conventional track total speed rankings heading to Indianapolis over at iFantasy Race for other guys, he ranks 3rd overall with an 8.14 speed ranking overall. So 3rd fastest at these conventional tracks. And then the season to date total speed rankings, Ryan Blaney sitting right at 6th place. So just outside of the top 5 behind Bell, Elliott, Reddick, and Larson and Byron. And if we're kicking Reddick out of the mix because of how he's been lately, then that puts him up into 5th. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, he finished 3rd here last year. Right? That was a fantastic finish for him. Started 7th, finished 3rd. So that is a top 5. I'm not asking for a top 3 out of him. I'd love a top 3, but his top 5 number is good enough for me. And then in 2019, he actually finished 7th here as well. So, like I said, Ryan Blaney, I get it. I understand that when you see Ryan Blaney, you expect him to be winning every single time he steps in that car. And when you see him finish 40th, when you see him finish 30th, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But let's not forget that he's a damn good driver still. Like Ryan Blaney, former champ, is going to be a contender each and every time he steps foot in that car. Now, of course, act of God takes him out of it a lot of times, but I think he might be turning the corner. I think Ryan Blaney, that performance last week is very indicative of how he should be running week after week. So I like his top 5 here, and I like it at -110.
Yeah, he's been so fast this season, just so inconsistent. These guys that are inconsistent, it's made it hard for me to bet on them this year. That's my only hesitation with Blaney. But if he just comes up and runs the race he should run, he's been a top 5 fast car, as we pointed out with the iFantasy conventional track rankings and all that. He's been one of the fastest cars each and every week. Just the inconsistency that gives me. It
gives everybody a pause, and I understand that. So I'm not saying it shouldn't give you a pause, but I'm saying you should get past that pause and give yourself a chance to win some money with Blaney this weekend. So, all right, Cody, where are we going next? I know everybody knows, but
well, our friend JDK has a question, Rod. How has nobody mentioned Ryan Preece plus 400 for a top 10? That's a great question, and nobody's mentioned it because we hadn't got that far in the card yet. But that is the next bet. Ryan Preece, top 10 plus 400. I just got done gushing all over his teammate, who I absolutely love. 3 career starts here. He's wrecked out in the last 2, so take it for what it's worth, whatever. That was old Ryan Preece. 2019, though, in the JTG 47 car, 16th place finish. So pretty notable. The one race he did finish was decent. But what has he done at the tracks that I'm looking at here lately, Rod? Well, let's go back, and I'm glad you asked. Let's go back and take a look. 8th place at Pocono. That is a top 10. 9th place at Michigan. That's a top 10. 9th place at Charlotte. That's a top 10. 7th place at Kansas. That's a top 10. Like what I'm seeing here, he had a 3rd place run back at Las Vegas early this spring. Texas was kind of the only bigger intermediate track where he had a rough day and ended up in 29th place. But he has been solid this year. I just talked about the RFK speed. He's shown it as well. And top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10 on all these bigger, faster tracks. 19th last week at Dover, fine. 12th at Sonoma, 7th at Chicago, which is a decent run. 15th at Atlanta. But some of those tracks are hard to compare to. There's some things you can certainly take from Dover. I would have liked to see more speed. Not going to overthink it, though. He's been strong on these bigger, faster tracks. I completely agree with you, JDK. I love Ryan Preece for a top 10 at 4-1. Then I was looking for a long shot guy. Who do I like? I think top 10 is top finishing Ford at 75-1. We know how topsy-turvy the top Ford market can be. Gregson just about came through for us last week, Rod. Looking good at the rain break. not looking good at the end of the race, but that's how it goes sometimes. But with it being topsy-turvy at the top, sometimes these long shots can definitely play in. One start here in the Brickyard 400 last year, 17th place run in the 71 car, struggling with that car last year. Obviously lost that ride. At this point of the season, he might have already lost it. I don't remember when they announced they were going to replace him, but it was fairly early in the season. But still managed a 17th place finish, which is fine. Let's go back and look at some of these comparable tracks. Pocono 25th. You'd like to see a little bit better, right? Obviously, not going to help you there. But Michigan goes out and runs in 7th place. Kansas, 16th place. So we're close there. Some of them are great. Charlotte 39th. He's a longer shot for a reason, right? Texas 17th. So again, you're flirting. You're kind of in the area there at least. Darlington, if you want to sort of look at that, 12th place. 11th place at Miami. He's got some top 10 capabilities in there for sure. But if you go back and you look at last year, I mentioned obviously different team. A lot of stuff has changed for him. Of course, now he's on that open team of Front Row Motorsports. But down the stretch at these bigger tracks, a 10th place finish at Kansas, a 16th place finish at Las Vegas, a 7th place finish at Michigan. Of course, the 17th place finish here. He ran as good as like second at Nashville. So he's performed well in his short cup career on these bigger tracks. For a longer shot guy at 12-1 for the top 10, 75-1 for the top Ford. Zane Smith, a guy I got my eye on this week.
I think a lot of people are going to have their eyes on Zane Smith this week because you're right. He should poke his head out and have good runs every once in a while. The equipment's good enough, right? I really feel like he should be able to turn that in. So I like that as well. I know, I think it's the Pokers and Henry talking about definitely betting Gibbs. I'll have you know, and I know we lost listeners about the Ty Gibbs, my abhorrence for Ty Gibbs. Yet I backed you 100% last week on the Ty Gibbs top 10.
You agreed last week. We both.
I told you I can put it aside when it's warranted.
Don't take it. None of this is personal, guys. We're just having fun. We got to have some entertainment value along with the picks. We can come on here and go, okay, I'm going to give you Denny Hamlin over Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott over Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin top 3. Chase Elliott top 5. All right, have a great day, guys. Probably nobody wants to watch that. Somebody. If you just want a couple of best bets, I have an article at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Go read that. And there.
All right. Well, then I'm going to give you my next bet.
See you guys later.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done with Kyle Larson. I'm not. He actually poked his head out and said, I am still a dominant driver.
Did he?
Look, he poked his head out.
Dominant. Whoa. Oh, hold on. Dominant.
Well, listen,
what dictionary are you?
You've already said that he is the best driver in the entire world. So that's what I'm saying.
Most important, powerful, influential. I don't think dominant's the
word. All right. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that he poked his head out. And I think he's going to re-emerge as one of the dominant drivers in the sport. All right? Let's put it that way. This season, no, he is not. Absolutely not. Average finish of 13.3. But
wow, it's not this season. I mean, the season's been fine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Sense. Like, he's got 10 top 5 finishes in 21 starts. That's not bad at all. Last week, he finished 4th at Dover, 7th at Pocono. Look, here's the thing. All I'm asking to do at this point in this bet is get a top 3 at plus 160. Last week, he fell 1 position short of that in a 4th place finish, but he started 25th at Dover and had to work his way up to a 4th place finish. There's a lot of drivers out there that could not work their way up to a 4th place finish after starting 25th and having trouble with the metric. At Pocono, started 24th, ended up 7th, right? Michigan, when the one that I'm kind of weighing, started 5th and finished 5th. He won at Kansas, 4th at Fort Worth. Overall, Kyle Larson, say what you will, he's 4th overall in the speed rankings, conventional tracks, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race. Kyle Larson is the 2nd behind William Byron in the speed rankings total, right? The total speed rankings. So you talk about fastest cars every single week. Kyle Larson is that guy, 10.5 or 10.05 to William Byron's 9.55. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. Sour taste in your mouth. Just something you don't expect and don't want. Kyle Larson, the 4th fastest in a late run after won last week. He actually had starting the loop data, Rod Rowdy Villagomez. Hey, I've heard that before. Starting 5th, mid-race, he was 21st. He finished 5th. His average running position, 11.2, 15 fastest laps, 8 laps led, a 106 driver rating for him last year at this race. Here's the thing. We started counting Kyle Larson out, and for good reason, right? But maybe it's time to stop counting him out. Maybe now is when he wakes up again and that 5 team realizes that they've got to turn it on if they want to carry momentum into the playoffs, which they're already in, but they need to do this now.
Yeah, it's so tough because I don't want this to come off as I'm poo-pooing Larson or, putting an arrow in him and saying he's done. Like, he is going to pop up one of these weeks. He's going to lead 221 laps like he did at Kansas. He's going to dominate, and everybody's going to go, holy shit, there's the Kyle Larson we knew. The problem I have at minus 110 for a guy who has an 18.0 average finish position since he ran the Indy 500, things just aren't the same. Sure, he got a top 5 last week, okay, but barely, right? It wasn't that impressive. He worked his way up there. He figured it out at the end. He got it done. Okay, fine. But before that, at tracks he should be good at. 35th at Sonoma, 13th at Chicago, Atlanta, fine, whatever. 7th at Pocono. Like, he should be a top 3 car at Pocono, but just a 7th place. Like, in Michigan, he got the top 5 there, but Charlotte, he was bad. I don't know. He should be able to get it done, but at minus 110, so many better things
it's not minus 110, Cody. It's plus 160.
It's plus 160. Sorry, I was looking at that's top 3 though. Like, that's not. Oh, that's even worse. I was thinking you said top 5. Oh my God, Rod. I just can't. Larson will beat me on one of these, and when he does, fine. But I think it's too hard to bet on him at this low.
I don't agree. I actually think that this is the right week to do it.
But we're betting on Brad K. Yeah, but all Brad K has to do is finish in the top 10 for a similar number, not the top 3. And he's been just as good, if not better, than Kyle Larson lately. So that's the thing. Like, again, you have to weigh the numbers in. I wish the books would be like, hey, Larson's not been good lately. Let's make his number bigger. They're not that stupid, unfortunately, which is just too bad. But that's how it goes. So, all right, Rod. Speaking of okay, let's talk some more about Brad Keselowski and how he's going to be the top finishing Ford on the weekend. 6-1 for Brad Keselowski to be in the top finishing Ford. Look, we know how topsy-turvy this market is. We've talked about it 100 times. Ryan Blaney's head and shoulders above everybody else. He is by far the favorite in this market. I think it's like minus 110. After that, it gets messy, right? And Blaney's hit and miss. Some weeks he's Blaney, some weeks he's Blanky, and which week is which week, who knows? But so Keselowski, top Ford, for all the reasons I mentioned earlier why I like his top 10. If he's going to be in the top 10, good shot to be a top Ford, and you're getting that 6-1. I really like that number. Been great on this track. Been good lately, especially on the tracks that we're better at. I'm not even done yet, Sour D, so you just hang on over there, buddy. We got more Keselowski coming up in the outright section. But I'm also going to take, so I got Zane Smith covered with the long shot, cover with Keselowski as one of the more favorites. Also going to take a little sprinkle on Josh Berry at 14-1. Now, this kind of goes a little bit away from, have you done a lot of great things? Well, but it doesn't, because he's been good. Dover wasn't good. The road courses weren't good, but he's not a road course guy. Dover's Dover, whatever, fine. But Pocono, 12th place finish. That was a good run. If you could finish 12th here, there's a shot, unless Keselowski wins this thing, which he might, that you could be close to the top finishing Ford. We see it every week. Some weeks you get three RFK Fords in the top 10. Some weeks the best Ford is 12th, and that's all it is. So a good run there. He was 12th at Michigan, so another good run on a bigger track. He was 12th at Charlotte. Very consistent here. He's good, right? He's keeping himself in the mix. But sometimes, Roddy can have the fastest car in the field at Kansas and finish in 6th place. That's what we're looking for, right? We like that. Texas leading when he wrecked, right? He spun out from the lead, led 41 laps that day, so was having a good day. Las Vegas, he won that day, led those 18 laps. He's been good on the big fast tracks this year. Josh Berry has 14-1 for a guy that's been quiet lately. We haven't seen much. I talked Sour D into it, so that's great. He likes Berry. Good. Glad we're back over there. But I think that Josh Berry at 14-1 definitely worth a sprinkle as well. Kind of covering ourselves all across the board on the top finishing Ford here. Now, Rod, in this manufacturer market is usually when I go to top finishing Toyota, which you probably should bet Denny, but I talked about it. All of the guys at Toyota, all the guys at Gibbs right now in particular, are really good at splitting hairs with those guys. I'm going to go to Chevy because I think Chevy's actually weaker now than they have been in the past. And I'm going to take advantage of that. Give me Chase Elliott, 3-1, just nice and simple. One guy near the top of the board. Kyle Larson, look, he's probably going to in the mix, right? But how many times do you look back through Kyle Larson's results and 37th, 40th, 43rd? Like, he steps on it sometimes, right? It's a big thing on DBC. He sometimes it's so big that he steps on it and trips over it. 4th at Dover, sure, but 35th at Sonoma, 13th at Chicago, 17th in Atlanta, 7th at Pocono. None of those are top Chevy finishes. 36th at Mexico City. Even 5th at Michigan, 8th at Nashville, 37th at Charlotte. A lot of those not top Chevy finishes for the guy that's the heavy favorite at plus 130. William Byron, he looked better last week than I thought he would, but still ends up wrecking, still ends up with a bad finish, right? Michael McDowell's next on the list. Like, we sort of checked out, right? You lose me at McDowell. It's 6-1 for top Chevy. He won at the Indy Road Course, not the Brickyard 400. Somebody messed up there, I think. But then, like Alex Bowman, okay, Hocevar can have his days, but he's also give me Chase Elliott near the top of the board, 3-1. Go out, have a solid day, be the top Chevy for the guy who's clearly the best Chevy right now. I know they kind of fumbled at the end last week, but I like Chase Elliott top Chevy. So Keselowski 6-1 top Ford, Barry 14-1 top Ford, Elliott top Chevy 3-1.
As somebody who had backed Chase Elliott as the race winner last week, I wanted to throw out everybody's TV, not just mine, but I wanted to go into my neighbor's house.
But he was so good, Roddy. He looked so fucking good. That was a tough position with the call. We know Gustafson's a great crew chief, but sometimes he just makes boneheaded decisions.
Should have stayed out.
Should have stayed out. But if he would have stayed out, we would have said he should have.
No, I think he had enough to hold off everybody. I think he could have stayed. I think he could have done exactly what Denny did and just hold everybody off. But that's neither here nor there. Speaking of that, he led a lot of laps that race to Chase Elliott last week. I don't think that's going to be the same case this week. And I think that if we're going to look at last season's race as any indicator, we will not have somebody run away and lead 200 laps of what is a 160 lap race. Therefore, my next bet is most laps led by any driver under 55.5. That's minus 115 over at Caesars. Last year in the next gen era, of course, that our one race that we've had in the next gen era, 40 was the number of laps led by one driver, and that was Tyler Reddick. 35 by Brad Keselowski, 26 by Bubba Wallace, 21 by Denny Hamlin, 16 by John Hunter, and then 8 by Kyle Larson, 8 by Ross Chastain, and so on and so forth, all the way down the line. Again, I think this is going to be one of those races where, you're going to have different strategies play out. You're going to have a lot of things going on. I know it's only a 160 lap race, but it's a very long track. And so, last year there was 10 cautions for 34 laps, and that sends everybody in 10 cautions. That sends people into just strategy mode all over the place. And so you don't get somebody leading a couple hundred laps when you are a 10 caution for 34 laps going into it. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of those races where we're going to see quite a few lead changes. We're going to see, last year there was 18 lead changes in this particular race. So I think we see something similar to that this time, which doesn't give somebody a chance to run away. So the most laps led by any driver, 55.5. Give me the under on that.
Yeah, this is a track too that's so big, and we saw this a bit at Pocono, that strategy comes into play. You're going to have guys flipping stages. You're going to have different strategies kind of come. I mean, it worked last year, right? Keselowski kind of got screwed on the fuel deal. We go into overtimes. He doesn't have enough to make it. You're going to see plenty of different things throughout the race. I think that's going to lead to different people getting in that clean air and kind of being able to run away for a little while, but probably not one driver for too long. So, I don't mind this.
All right. Well, then, speaking of leading, who will be leading at the end, Cody, and who will be kissing the bricks at the end of the race?
Well, Rod, I think that Denny Hamlin probably gets his first career Brickyard 400 win, but I'm not going to test my luck betting on him outright 2 weeks in a row. We'll cash those winnings from last week. we're going to put those into some longer shots this week. And we're going back to his teammates. Christopher Bell, you can get him at 12-1. Another reason to be in the Discord. 365 at him, boosted 16-1 earlier this week. He's already down to boosted 11-1 over there. But FanDuel, you can get him 12-1 still. And Christopher Bell maybe should have won last week, should have cashed the bet for us. Obviously, he stepped on it twice. So that tells you how big his is, Rod, because it got in the way twice, which was not great for him. But we've seen the speed out of these Joe Gibbs racing cars, as I've talked about multiple times already today, and we've seen some good runs from him lately. Now, the results are the part that's a little bit questionable. That's why I don't necessarily love like a top 5. He's too big of a number to bet on top 10. But the outright, as we saw last week, he can get it done. He led 67 laps last week, had 2 opportunities to maybe win that race. He was 5th at Sonoma the week before, so a couple decent runs in a row. 17th at Pocono, you want more out of it, right? 16th at Charlotte, you want more out of it. But 2nd place at Kansas, okay, we like that. 8th place at Charlotte, we like that. 9th place at Texas, we'd like a little bit better. But fast earlier this season, obviously with all those wins. I think that Joe Gibbs Racing is figuring some stuff out right now. I think we've seen some speed out of Christopher Bell here lately. And I think at 12-1, the number's big. Podcast.com, go check that out. But if there's any driver who can compete with Denny Hamlin for the title of the hottest driver right now, it's Chase Briscoe. 2nd place each of the last 2 races. 2nd to Denny last week. 2nd to SVG at Sonoma. He's starting to figure things out. He has been on fire lately. Top 7 in 4 of the last 6 races. So just time and time again, we're getting here. But he dominated at Pocono. He led 72 laps. It's a lot of laps at a big track like that. Won that race. What's the closest comp track we have, in my opinion? Also, Ryan over at iFantasy Race opinion. It's Pocono. Just a few weeks ago, he's clicking on all cylinders. Most recent winner at this type of track. Led a bunch of laps. Looked fast. He started on the pole at Michigan. He led some laps there. Looked good early, but ended up having trouble and didn't get the result. 4th place at Kansas. 3rd place at Charlotte. All really good runs from Briscoe. I was out on Briscoe to start the season. I knew it was going to take him some time. He said he was struggling to figure out these cars. He's figured it out. Spoiler alert. He knows what he's doing now. 2nd place 2 weeks in a row. You're still getting him at 13-1. When Denny Hamlin is the big favorite, right, at 5-1 plus 550, whatever it is, but you're getting 2 of his teammates who are equally as fast, not as consistent, and maybe not the top is as good, but have the ability to win each and every week. At 12-1, 13-1, too good to pass up on those 2 guys. Brad Keselowski, 21-1. I've already sung all the praises for Keselowski. Mini car lift in here, the top 10, the top 4 to win in the race. This is the week. If Keselowski's going to do it, this is the week. I think he's got it in him. He has been so good at this track, and he's been strong. He should have won this fucking race last year, Rod. He's coming back. Vengeance on his mind. Give me Keselowski at 21-1. And to round it out with a long shot because it's fun. He was fast at Texas when he spun out from the lead. He won at Las Vegas, was fast there. He was I was there at Kansas in person. He was so fucking fast. They know how to bring fast cars to these big tracks. Josh Berry at 50.
Gotta love it. Yeah, I mean, all of these guys obviously have potential, and I think that they're all good bets to make. However, I'm just not going to overthink it. And by the way, you didn't really leave me a lot to go on this punt, so I'm just going to go with Kyle Larson. And the reason I went with Kyle Larson initially was because he was 6-1 over on FanDuel. That since has changed. They've pretty much tightened it up with the rest of the world at plus 550. And you could say what you want, right? I mean, you guys know that I'm not one to overly emotionalize these guys. And again, if it's time to be off of them, I will be off of them. If it's time to be on them, I will be on them. A lot like what we did with Gibbs last week, right? I've sat here for weeks telling you that the junior jinx is real and that sophomore slump was real. And I get that. I mean, it was true. It wasn't like I was lying about it. It wasn't like I was making it up or hating him just to hate on him. But I realize now, of course, it's starting to turn the page. And now is the time to go ahead and back bets on Ty Gibbs. I'm here to make you money, not to just push my agenda across the line. So the fact that I lifted my ban on Ty Gibbs should tell you something, right? And this week, I believe that it's time to start lifting the ban on Kyle Larson and maybe start to give him a little more love than you probably would have through his rough spot. Plus 550 for Kyle Larson to win. It's not as long as you want it. I get it. But at the same time, plus 550 is still a damn good number for a guy who won last year and, has won multiple races in a season and is capable of doing it, right? I mean, have we seen it? Not as much as we want to see it out of a guy like Kyle Larson, but it's in there. And it's in there, right? And at some point, like Cody said, he's going to end up beating you if you keep fading him. And I think this week may be one of those weeks where you just take a step back from fading him. Now, if he screws you again, all right, fine. Then we're off of him for a good long time, right? But I think that 4th place last week is just enough for this 5 team to gain enough momentum. And you don't got to give him a lot to go off of, right? His momentum can get kickstarted at just about anything. And I think this last week might have been the way to do it. So give me Kyle Larson plus 550.
Yeah, I can't get on, but you got it backwards, Rod. You got to fade until he beats, not guess until he hits it, because it's a small window. We only have a small window to kind of be out on him, and this is the window that we're in. I would a million times rather have Denny Hamlin at plus 450 than Larson this week. Just, again, he can do it, and I'm not saying that he can't, but there's nothing I've seen from him since the Indy 500 that makes me want to bet on him at this low of numbers. He if you put the stats up since the Indy 500 and said, this is what we're dealing with and this is a number, you wouldn't bet on that guy, especially if you put him next to a Denny Hamlin.
But the books aren't ever going to give you any better numbers on Killers.
I know, and that's why you got to just pass. It's okay to pass.
Puff, pass. I get it, and I understand all you guys out there that get that too. But I'm done passing. Like, I'm going to puff the whole thing this time. So, yeah, give me Kyle Larson.
Sour D asking if we like Reddick. If you missed the very beginning, I did give out Chase Elliott over Tyler Reddick. Man, if you look at everything he's done on the big tracks this year, it's almost all been bad. I mean, it's not the Tyler Reddick we're used to. I know he was really good here last year. I'm out on him. And I wanted to bring this up. Christopher had posted this in the YouTube chat yesterday too, but when we didn't go. How do you feel about Bell over Byron head-to-head? I had this in the document, and I took it out because, as I kind of touched on, Bell's been a little bit inconsistent on the bigger tracks, but current form, I really love Bell over Byron in that way. So if you want to bet on it, I would take the Bell side for sure. I took it out of my official plays because there's just a little bit of hesitation on the inconsistencies from Bell, but I would much rather have Bell over Byron right now. And I did have that bet in there until I researched my way out of it, but I more so just decided to go with the Elliott over Reddick. I felt more confident in that one instead. But it was in the dock for a little.
I think I'm with you on that one as well. I mean, Byron, he peaked up, but get out your pen and paper, everybody. Time to go over our bets for the Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I gave you Kyle Busch over Ross Chastain at minus 120. I also gave you Bubba Wallace as the top 10 car at plus 140. I gave you Ryan Blaney, top 5 at minus 110. Kyle Larson, top 3 at plus 160. I said the most laps led by any driver would be under 55.5 at minus 115. And Kyle Larson now at plus 550 on FanDuel to win the race. Cody gave you Briscoe poll, Hocevar poll. Those are gone now. He gave you Hamlin over Larson at minus 115. He did say that he took out the Bell over Byron. Again, we were supposed to go last night. Show got changed. The graphic did not. So
there's your proof that I was
there
on.
There you
go.
See,
because it's still in the graphic.
So yeah, he was definitely on it. Bell over Byron, honorable mention at minus 105, but he gave you Elliott over Reddick at minus 125. Gave you Hamlin as a top 3 car at plus 140. Elliott top 5 at plus 160. Gibbs top 10 plus 100. Keselowski a top 10 at plus 130. Priest top 10 4-1. Smith top 10 at 12-1. That's Zane Smith, by the way. And top Ford at 75-1. Keselowski top Ford at 6-1. Barry top Ford at 14-1. Elliott top Chevy at 3-1. Bell 12-1 to win. 13-1 for Briscoe to win. 21-1 for Keselowski and 50-1 for Barry to win this race. All right, that will do it, ladies and gentlemen, for the bets. All right.
Yeah, two more things in the comments real quick. Sourdy saying back to the Reddick thing, I heard it, but still, this is the track to make the move. But like I said in my argument against him earlier, Michigan was that track, and Kansas was that track, and how many times are we going to have that this is the track? Again, until I see it from Reddick, I'm out again on him. And then says JGR winning team or Toyota winning manufacturer. Toyota or JGR at 2-1, I kind of really like. And that's the one. I'm not too worried about the other Toyotas. I mean, the legacy guys aren't going to win, and Bubba, Reddick, the 4 JGR guys, though, all highly capable of winning. So I don't mind that.
I don't mind it at all. All right, we were a day late, but definitely not $1 short on delivering our picks for the Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Cody, happy 650 to you, my friend. I cannot believe that we've made it to 650 episodes of the show. It's amazing, and it's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, it is crazy. 650 is absolutely insane, but I've loved every minute of it. And yeah, I'm excited. We're going to just push everything back a day this week since, of course, we're running a day behind. But Xfinity tomorrow, Rod, and there's a new series to NASCAR, the Craftsman Truck Series, I think it's called. So, yes, new series, I guess they're just introducing. So we're going to talk about that as well. Just kidding. They're finally back after a month-long hiatus. And they're on a different track than the other guys. So we'll be talking about both of those tomorrow. Excited about that. And then, of course, DFS talk on Friday this week since we slid everything back a little bit. But very excited. A lot of racing this week. A lot of money to be made. Kyle Larson, by the way, in that Xfinity race. We'll have to see if we talk about him. Well, we're going to talk about him one way or another. How we talk about him.
Indeed. High limit race, Xfinity race, all kinds of crazy stuff. So, yeah. All right. Christopher, get into the Discord. We'll answer your question over there. He's wanting to know Briscoe over Busher, but
Briscoe.
Yeah, I think it's Briscoe as well. I know it's too close.
I fucking love betting on Busher, but Briscoe's on fucking fire.
Definitely though. All right. Well then, as we start to get out of here, Cody, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you out there in the real world.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there, tons and tons of it. I mentioned my best bets articles out over there as well now, and lots of NFL content still in the works and coming out constantly as we get closer to the season. So, gotta love that. See you guys tomorrow for some Xfinity and trucks.
That's all you got.
All I got.
Yeah, JDK.
Happy Brad Keselowski
yes,
week. Bro.
JDK wants us to track those units. That's on a different site, JDK. You'll have to link in the bio to that site of where.
Venmo me and I'll send you my units.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. I will send you no units because I don't want to be sued for anything like that. But yeah, there's a link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here. Make sure you check out the back road this week as we break down Indy. And then, yeah, man, I got some fun stuff. I've been doing CFL. I've been doing rugby. I've been doing all kinds of crazy. I had League of Legends up the other day. So, yeah, so much fun tracking that stuff. But anyways, follow us there. Follow me there. And, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for some Xfinity and trucks. We love you all. Have a great day. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.